Well, hello and welcome. I'm Misheard with Misheard Song Lyrics Podcast. We're at Season 7, Episode 364. The misheard lyric is, I feel a little poo coming through on you. And then the correct lyric says, I feel a little poke coming through on you. Well, welcome back to Misheard Song Lyrics, the show where we take the tracks you love and then highlight the wildly wrong words your brain insists on hearing instead. Again, I'm your host, Misheard, and today we're diving into Season 7, Episode 364. All right, we're traveling back to the late 90s, 1998 to be exact. Yours truly was a young 26, I know, just yesterday, right? For a smooth, slow jam, R&B classic that we played at every school dance, house party, and club across the country. I'm talking about Too Close by the R&B trio called Next. Remember them? Now, if you were listening to this track on the radio back then, you were probably just grooving to that iconic beat. But if you misheard the lyrics, things take a quick, very, very unhygienic turn. Let's talk about the line in question. So the misheard lyric that brings us here today, like I said earlier, was, I feel a little poo coming through on you. I mean, talking about ruining the mood. You're on the dance floor, the vibe is right, and suddenly what? RL Tweedy and Tilo are actually singing in that iconic hook is, I feel a little poke coming through on you. Still completely explicit. And when you think about it, very different connotation, right? So, looking back at this track as an adult, listening to the words far more intently, you realize just how much slipped past those radio censors. I mean, for real. As a kid or young teen in 1998, for me, I was a grown adult, a lot of us thought it was just a song about dancing real close at the party. But Too Close is easily one of the most blatantly sexual songs to ever top the pop charts. And when I do sing it sometimes at a fun party where there's karaoke, sometimes we'll have a karaoke night where we're renting a room, I start before the song is, this is a song about someone with a heart on. I mean, that's all what it is. So the team over at songfacts.com summed it up perfectly. They noted that, quote unquote, Too Close is a sexually charged song about a guy who gets an erection, right, while slow dancing with a partner. She tells him to step back because they're dancing too close and she can feel that, quote unquote, poke come through. He retorts that he simply can't help it, because he's excited. That's even the classic line, you're making it hard for me, which doubles as a clever little double entendre. Yet despite the saucy lyrics, late 90s listeners like myself and radio stations consider the song totally harmless, giving it a massive round-the-clock airplay. Billboard described the track by pointing out how members R.L. Terry and Raphael moan and groan about their female dancers grinding and shaking and their respective bulges as a result, atop a Chicago-style step dance production. When you lay it out like that, it's hilarious to think that this was playing on daytime radio while people were driving their kids to soccer practice, and it was. All right, so who was behind this smooth-talking hit? Next is an American R&B music trio formed in Minneapolis, Minnesota back in 1992. My God, Minneapolis, Minnesota, with Prince and all there's a lot of talent there, okay? The group was started by Robert R.L. Hugger alongside brothers Ralph Tweedy Brown and Terry Tilo Brown after being introduced by the brothers' uncle, who was a gospel choir director. Interesting. They originally started as a quartet called Straight Forward with the number 4 in there instead of F-O, and were briefly managed by Ann Nesby of Sounds of Blackness. After one member left, they renamed themselves Next. That's now the trio. Their big break came again when their demo caught the attention of a KG from Naughty by Nature, remember them? Who signed them to his Arista imprint Divine Mill. And then late 1997, Next dropped their debut album called But a Love, which hit the top 20 on the Billboard Hot 100. That set the stage for their next album called Rated Next, love the play on words, released in September of 1997, but it was on January 27, 1998, when they dropped Too Close, featuring uncredited vocals from V of Coffee Brown and a slick sample of Curtis Blow's 1979 classic Christmas Rappin' that everything exploded. Too Close soared all the way to number one on both Billboard Hot 100 and the R&B charts, spending 5 non-consecutive weeks at the very top. I remember it precisely. It drove sales of Rated Next past 2 million copies. Again, same time where people really had to go to the record store to purchase it. They couldn't download anything at that time, earning them double platinum certification alongside nominations at the upcoming American Music Awards, Billboard Music Awards, and Soul Train Awards. Next, they went on to drop other major jams you probably still hear on the urban adult contemporary radio today, like Wifey, which hit number one on the R&B charts in 2000, as well as I Still Love You. And of course, despite label changes, internal conflicts, and a period where T-Lo suffered a career-ending throat condition, the group built a legacy that defined late 1990s and early 2000s R&B. They even reunited after a featured spot in TV One's Unsung in 2016, 10 years ago already, and dropped a single called Want It in 2018. But Too Close remains their undisputed signature anthem and probably the most selling song that they have on their repertoire. All right. We can't talk about Too Close without bringing up the iconic music video. If you haven't seen it, please look it up, of course, on YouTube. The video starts with a quick taste of their previous single, But a Love, before transitioning straight into a crowded, dimly lit club where Next performs the track. Now, songfacts.com hilariously points out about the video, thankfully we never actually see the guys in the visibly aroused state that they're singing about. It's all kept smooth, stylish, and full of classic late 90s choreography. Since being uploaded to YouTube back in November of 2009, so 17 years ago, right? That music video has racked up well over 140 million views, proving that people are still tuning in to relive that nostalgia, or maybe just double checking those lyrics like myself. Now, the mastermind behind that clip was none other than director Bille Woodruff. If that name rings a bell, I'll tell you why. If you watch music videos in the 1990s and 2000s, you know his work. Bille Woodruff was an acclaimed film, television, and music video director who became a legendary force in the R&B and hip-hop visual landscape starting in the mid-1990s. Let's see, he worked with some of the biggest names in the business, directing a staggering 9 music videos for R&B singer Joe since 1994, and collaborating 10 times with one of my favorites, Toni Braxton, starting in 1996. In fact, Woodruff was a genius behind the lens for some of Braxton's most massive, iconic hits, including Unbreak My Heart, Unbreak My Heart, oh, I love it, You're Making Me High, and He Wasn't Man Enough. So when Next needed a video for Too Close, bringing in a powerhouse like Woodruff was the ultimate move to turn that track into a visual classic. So if you haven't checked it out, add to those millions of views, because it is iconic 1990s music video. All right, so whether you know every word back in 1998 or spent the last 2 decades singing about a little poo coming through, oh boy, there is no denying that Next created one of the most infectious R&B tracks from the decade. If you want to read through the full official licensed lyrics and verify that poke is indeed the word it is, you can easily find that by searching the song on Google. This wraps season 7, episode 364 of Misheard Song Lyrics. Don't forget our YouTube link and the podcast episode link that will be in the show notes. But if you have any misheard song lyrics like this gem, you can always send it to us via Instagram, via our Facebook page, or very old school, which I love, via an email at misheard, that's MISSHEARD songs @gmail.com. Till then, keep singing those songs wrong. Bye.